What up, what up, what up? Another episode of Pete's Corner with Dre. But before, let me even say it to start it off, I do not own the copyright to that song, so before YouTube cuts us off again. But I'm your host, Pacman the Sports God. Over there in Cyber World is my boy D-Money Drizzy Dre.
Yeah, what's going on, people?
And we're here to try to win you guys some more money with some betting tips for this week in the NFL. Week 6, as we're flying through it, we're 1/3 of the way through the season now, Dre.
That's right, we're dodging bullets, man. We're rescheduling games here and there, false positives here and there, but the NFL, man, they love their money, and we love our sport, so I can't complain.
Yeah, they're never going to shut it down. They would literally take probably about 4 or 5 teams to start getting COVID and get shut down to actually slow down the NFL. They're like a machine. They make so much money. They make billions. They don't just make millions. So it's going to take a while for them to ever shut down.
Exactly. They'll reschedule before anything. And for those screaming forfeit, listen, that's never going to happen because that's millions of dollars. Believe it or not, even with stadiums not being filled, that's millions being lost by the NFL if a team were to forfeit or cancel a game. Believe me. So again, the games will happen. It's just a matter of when.
Yeah. So let's get right into it. We didn't have a Thursday game yesterday, so we'll get right into the Sunday games. Baltimore Ravens -9.5 versus the Philadelphia Eagles. What do you think, Dre?
It's a tricky game because I did see a lot of out of the depleted Philadelphia team last week when they played Pittsburgh again. I mean, Baltimore did what they had to do last week against Cincinnati. It's a tricky game. I wouldn't touch it, but I will say that Baltimore does cover that spread. I don't see why they couldn't cover that spread. It's just that the Philadelphia team is too depleted right now and too injured for me to to pick them, especially put money on them. But again, this is a tricky game that they could backdoor cover, so I wouldn't touch it. But I'll say Baltimore covers the -9.5.
I agree with you. Philadelphia just has too many injuries. They haven't looked good pretty much the entire year. They got lucky to face San Francisco team that was losing about 7 or 8 starters that week, and they still barely held on to win that game. Baltimore right now, they aren't clicking on all cylinders, but I think they're good enough to be able to put Philadelphia away by double digits. So I think they'll win by probably in the 10 to 14 range. So I agree, and I'm going to go with Baltimore to cover that 9.5 point spread. Moving on to the second game, and the game that Dre will obviously be invested in, the Pittsburgh Steelers -3.5 versus the Cleveland Browns. What do you think, Dre? Matter of fact, no, I'm going to let you pick second since it's your team. So I'm actually going to make you mad and go with the Cleveland Browns. I'm not sure if Pittsburgh will win this game, but Cleveland's actually playing very well right now. Their offense seems to be clicking. They're 4-1 and nobody's really talking about them. And I think that they can continue that run to either make this a field goal type game or win the game outright. I'm not picking the game to win outright, but I do think that they can come within a field goal. So that half a point that they're putting for Pittsburgh, I'm going to take advantage of that and say Cleveland covers that. What do you think, Dre?
Hey, listen, man, I can't argue with that. Look, AFC North football is always close. Always close. And I'm talking about competitive teams. I'm not talking about like the Cincinnati like last week. Not trying to shit on them or Burrow because I actually like them, but...
Yeah, and that was kind of a weird game because Baltimore had the return for a touchdown, and if Cincinnati had scored one time, all of a sudden they're covering. So that was kind of a weird one.
Exactly, but you know what? And last week, me and Peter Clarke did pick Cleveland Browns to upset Indianapolis, and they actually did. So again, I am giving Cleveland a lot more credit than what I'm used to. So listen, we got a 4-0 team going up against a 4-1 team. The reality of it is that a team's going to beat another team with 4 wins, and that's huge. And shout out to Cleveland, they're making it happen. But I just think that the Pittsburgh team right now is more comfortable. I'm not trying to take away Cleveland's win from last week because they did find ways to win, and they smacked the Colts. But again, to me, that wasn't crazy. If they could go into Heinz Field and beat a team like Pittsburgh, then I would be really surprised, and I would give them all the credit in the world, to be honest. But until I see that happen, I'm going to say Pittsburgh. That's another team. That's another game that I'm not comfortable touching. This is an actual game that I'm scared of.
You shouldn't. It's your team.
Because this is a game that the Cleveland Browns could actually win, and I'm not going to count them out and say that Pittsburgh's going to watch them. but I think Pittsburgh, does enough to cover the spread. I think they win between 5 to 6 points.
So I think that half a point made a difference to me. If that spread was 2.5 or even 3, I probably will go Pittsburgh. But just because I think that
3.5 with the half a point, Peter Clarke is right. This could be a field goal game either way. And if Pittsburgh wins by a field goal, listen, the half a point is going to put money in your pocket. So
listen,
I don't blame you.
You remember with a couple Pittsburgh games already, they had against Denver, they didn't cover. They were playing against Houston, that was a tight game. So they've been right on that borderline. So that half a point, I think, would be a big difference. But we move from Dre's team to my team, Tennessee Titans minus 3.5 versus Houston, coming off a undefeated versus undefeated Tennessee versus Buffalo as they knocked off Buffalo on Tuesday Night Football. Dre, what do you think of this game?
This is it's a good game. I'm actually surprised that the spread's a little closer than what I projected. I do understand it is a division game.
Short rest. Because they're coming from Tuesday.
And the Texans are a little desperate right now. I am picking the Tennessee Titans to cover this spread. It's 3.5. However, my best pick of the week is going to be the total 53.5. Tennessee does tend to give up a lot of points, but they do also put up a lot of points as well. I think Deshaun Watson will probably scramble maybe in the third, fourth quarter to try to rally his team back, but that just won't be enough. But I do think it'll be enough to take the total over to 53.5. Mm-hmm. But I think Tennessee go ahead and wins by at least a touchdown or more. But my best pick of the week is going to be in this game, the total 53.5.
All right, over 53.5. Best pick of the week from Dre. Moving on to the next game. Actually, no, I didn't pick the game. I didn't pick. So I'm actually going to go with the Titans. I think that game last week, they're right now kind of doing a me against the world thing. Everybody doesn't like the Titans. Everybody said they're the team that pretty much tried to shut down the NFL.
Almost did.
they had 16 days without playing a game, and then they came right in and blew the hell out of an undefeated team in Buffalo. So I think right now they're actually getting players back. As Simmons is back on the line, Humphreys is back, may have another player back before the game time. So they're starting to get their starters back. We'll see if Corey Davis comes back to start. But they're starting to get all their players back, and that's a dangerous thing because they seem to be clicking on all levels, and now they have extra motivation as they were already a team that was being disrespected before the year was done, before the year started. So now they have even more motivation because people don't like them. And you saw Taylor Lewan say that right after the game. He was like, they hate it. They said, he said, everybody wanted us to lose. They blamed us for everything. They wanted us to forfeit. They all hated us, and they used that as motivation to go out there and show the world on Tuesday night. So I think they're going to continue a little bit of that and try to take it out on Houston.
Yep, I agree.
So moving on to the next game, the Minnesota Vikings versus the Atlanta Falcons, two teams that have disappointed this year. What do you think, Dre?
Tricky game, man. They finally fired the coach from Atlanta, which was a great.
I don't know how he was there that long. Like, seriously.
I don't know.
You started 0-5 with Matt Ryan, Julio Jones, Calvin Ridley, Todd Gurley. You have all these superstars on your team. You start at 0-5 after being average the year before that, after being bad or losing. Just they blow so many leads. Like, ever since that 28-3 Super Bowl where they lost that game, they've never been the same. They've never been good. And they just can't get that back.
That's what I'm saying. Look, I got to go Minnesota road here. I'm not comfortable touching this game because this is a game that, again, Atlanta's 0-5. Their team, in my opinion, is a lot better than what their record speaks for. We know they're better than that. But I was impressed by the way Minnesota played last Sunday. They almost scooped the game out. They covered like me and you said they would. And, obviously they lost to Russell Wilson in the fourth quarter, 15 seconds left. So, again, that was a game they deserved to win, in my opinion. Mm-hmm. But with that being said, I think they're playing obviously better than Atlanta right now. And I can't trust Atlanta, not even taking 4 points. So I'm going to go ahead and say Minnesota covers this spread. Pretty comfortable. All
right. I'm going to actually go the opposite way and go Atlanta. They're getting Julio Jones back this week. He practiced all week, and he seems to be in normal condition. They have their new head coach, so he's going to have a new – their interim head coach always wants to prove something. He's going to have the motivation high this week. And they've been close to winning games. It's not like they've been being blown out. They've been close on winning games. And Raheem Morris, I remember when he was the coach of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, I don't think he got a completely fair job there. Hopefully he gets a fair job to actually do the job in Atlanta as the head coach, and maybe he'll get a fair share. But I actually do think that Atlanta's going to win this game. Minnesota hasn't played well all the year. Dalvin Cook will not be playing this week. Even though I do like their backup Madison, he's not Dalvin Cook. Dalvin Cook is one of the top 5-6 backs in the league. So I just don't. I think this is the game that Minnesota blows this week. I think this is the one time that Atlanta is the team that comes from behind. They surprise teams, and I think they'll win this game. So I think Atlanta's going to win the game outright, to be honest.
Is this your underdog pick?
No, it is not going to be my underdog pick. I got another one for that one, but I do think Atlanta will win this game outright. But even taking the points with 4 points, then that covers you against a last-minute field goal by Dan Bailey in Minnesota. So I think Atlanta's definitely. I think they're definitely going to cover that 4-point spread.
Okay, all right. Listen, people, pay attention. Pete's telling you to cash out.
So moving on to the next game, the Carolina Panthers and the Chicago Bears. Carolina is a 1-point favorite. And I'll be honest, this was probably the hardest game for me to pick this entire week, as weird as that sounds, because Carolina's been hot. They've won 3 in a row. Chicago has won 4 out of 5, obviously. People have called them the worst 4-1 team in the league of maybe all time. But you know what? A win is a win. And Nick Foles is going down the field more. He's helping their wide receivers with Anthony Miller, obviously with Allen Robinson, one of the top wide receivers in the league. And their offense, even though it's still a little inconsistent, at least they're moving the ball better than it was with Trubisky. And you saw that in the second half against Tampa Bay. Carolina, on the other hand, it's surprising how well they're playing without Christian McCaffrey. Mike Davis has scored in every game since he's been replacing McCaffrey. And he stepped up a lot. He hasn't gotten, obviously, the same amount of yards and the same amount of touches as McCaffrey. But he's been able to get in the end zone, and he's been able to be productive and efficient. With that being said, I'm going to go with the Chicago Bears in a tight. It's a 1-point spread, so it's going to be a tight game by most opinions anyway. But I know the disrespect that Chicago is getting being 4-1. I saw on NFL Network they were ranked like 16th in the power rankings. Like a 4-1 team shouldn't be ranked 16th in power rankings. So I know they feel disrespected. They still have that good defense. I'm going to go with Chicago to win that game against Carolina. What do you think, Dre?
Oh, man, you know what it is? And I agree with you. It's super difficult because both teams are playing well. A lot of people are overlooking both of these teams. And now you're looking
especially Carolina. People were saying they were going to be the number 1 pick.
Oh, bro. Yeah, that's crazy. That's insane. And look, Carolina now, they're sitting at 3-2, and they could possibly be sitting at 4-2 by the end of Sunday. It's a very difficult game, but I'm going to go ahead and agree with you, Pete. I think Chicago wins this game outright. This is a game that I probably wouldn't put money on. That's how close it is. That's how
definitely
sure it is, to figure out, though. But, again, you got to give credit to both teams. Chicago's been shutting me up, and it's about time that I start paying them some respect, and I'm going to go ahead and say they win this game outright.
All right. So we both agree on that one. Moving on to the next one, the New York Football Giants versus the Washington No-Name teams. I want to call them that forever. So even when they get a new nickname, I may be calling them that nickname. It's the no-name football team. But the Washington Football Team versus the New York Giants, these are two teams that combined for a 1-9 record between the two teams. 1-4 for Washington, 0-5 for the New York Giants. If the Giants don't win this game, this is probably their signal that they may not win a game the entire year. They may go 0-16 or 1-15 if they don't win this game. So I'm going to go with the Giants to win this game. It's only a 2.5-point spread, so is anything under a field goal, unless that weird one that I told you a couple weeks ago with bet Tennessee by a point. Anytime it's under a field goal, you usually go with the team that you think is going to win. I think the Giants are going to win this game. So I just got to go with them. And if you go back to last year, both of these teams were bad again last year. And if the Giants had lost the game against Washington, they would have had the number 2 pick, probably would have had Chase Young, and everything would have been probably different on their defense. But they won that game, and they end up with like the 5th pick. And obviously they don't have Chase Young. They end up getting other players. But I think this is going to be very similar to that. I think the Giants, especially with Dave Gettleman not trying to tank, he's trying to keep his job. So he's trying to win as much as possible. So I think he's going to push as hard. The coach obviously is a rookie head coach, so he's going to push as hard. So it's not a tanking job for the Giants. While Washington, on the other hand, Rivera just got hired. He knows he's going to be there for at least 2-3 years. So he doesn't mind if they have a bad year, especially if it's to get a quarterback they want, like Sunshine from Clemson, Trevor Lawrence, or somebody like that. I think it's more to the advantage of the Giants winning it. So I'm going to go with the Giants to cover that 2.5-point spread. What about you, Dre?
Oh man, this is hard, and although I do agree with everything that you've been saying, I'm gonna have to go ahead and pick the no name to win this game because
watching the football team.
Because no disrespect to you guys, listen, man, the Washington football team, but I'm gonna go ahead and say them only because to me, although yes, to me, like I mean, obviously must win both for both teams, but especially the Giants, especially with the rookie head coach. I just think that the Washington team has been, first of all, at least they got to win.
Yeah.
They've been competing. They haven't been making it easy for opponents. Even though they have been losing, they haven't been making it easy. And with this being a division game, the spread being this close, if I'm going to pick Washington to go ahead and cover the +3, I might as well pick them to win. This isn't going to be one of those scenarios where like Tennessee, Minnesota, and Tennessee wins by like a point, but the other team covers like the 3-point spread. No, I go ahead and say that Washington, wins this game outright. They'll probably win by 6-7 points. Again, I don't know why anybody would put money in this game, though, but
it's a horrible game to bet.
Yeah, if I say go one route, I would take the points in this one and possibly even take a money line.
I say go under with the points, no matter what they say.
Yeah.
It's just horrible right now.
I agree.
But moving on we disagree on that one. But we pretty much both say that don't bet on this game. It's going to be two horrible teams. But moving on to the next game, Detroit Lions -3 versus the Jacksonville Jaguars. I'm going to stick with what I've said all year, that week one is always weird. I picked Jacksonville to win week one. I've picked them to lose every week after that, and it's followed suit. I don't think Jacksonville is going to be a good team. I think they're going to be a 2-14 type team this year. And with that being said, I think they're going to lose to Detroit. So I got Detroit -3. What about you?
This is a setup. To me, this smells like a trap. I'm going to go ahead and say Jacksonville wins this game outright.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah, it's one of those weeks, Pete. I say Jacksonville wins this game outright. I cannot trust Matt Patricia. Matt Stafford, again, this is a team that reminds
Gardner Minshew? Really?
Yeah. I'm not a fan of Minshew. I'm not a fan of that Jacksonville team, but we do know that when they put up points, they can put up points and they can be competitive. Again, super.
He's still a
team.
bum.
Listen, man. I'm not gonna disagree with you, but I can't trust Detroit. That's a team that's flaky. They'll have a 14-point lead against the Saints and then just throw it away. I can't trust Matt Patricia. I know they're getting what's his name back, Keenan Allen. They're getting Keenan Allen back. So I know they are getting a weapon, but again, I just can't trust them at all, especially on the road. I'm going to take a shot in the dark here, and I'm going to say Jacksonville wins this game outright.
All right, so listen, I think Detroit is a different team with Kenny Galladay. Kenny Galladay played his last game. You can see a difference when he plays. So that's
Kenny
why.
Galladay, I'm sorry, I said Keenan Allen.
Yeah, I think Kenny Galladay changes the way they play. He has a good rapport with Matt Stafford, so I think he'll make a difference in that game. But it's always fun when we disagree because we can see what happens at the end of the week. So moving on to the next game, the Indianapolis Colts -8 versus the Cincinnati Bengals. The Cincinnati Bengals, like we talked about it a little bit earlier, where they lost the game 27-3. However, there was a return for a touchdown by the Baltimore defense. Cincinnati was close to scoring. That's a 14-point turnaround. They could have easily covered. But they're still a -8 this week versus the Indianapolis Colts. What do you think happens this week, Dre?
I think they covered the spread. And I think Cincinnati will put up points. I mean, so this is a possible over as well. I'll say take the over, even though it's not one of my best bets, but I do feel pretty comfortable taking the over. I think both teams will put up points, but I think that the Colts will do enough to cover the spread. I think they win by double digits, at least 10 to 11 points. So I'm going to go and say the Colts cover this one.
Oh, okay. So I'm going to actually go back with Cincinnati again. I'm gonna say
Oh,
I'm gonna say Joe Burrow just had an off week. I think, like I said, the return for a touchdown kind of stopped them from covering because they would have drove down the field. So I'm gonna listen. Cincinnati's been close all year. Joe Burrow has outplayed a lot of good quarterbacks like Baker Mayfield, like Carson Wentz. So he's played well. He doesn't give up because you can even see that game against Cleveland they played on Thursday night. They were down 2 scores. It was like a minute to go. He's still driving down the field. They scored a touchdown. They covered. So he's one of those quarterbacks that isn't going to give up. So I like that, especially in somebody, if I'm going to bet him, that he's going to keep going. So I'm going to say Indy, even if they win by a touchdown, I still got that extra point. So I'm going to go with Cincinnati to cover that spread. Yep. Moving on to the next game, New England Patriots. Maybe they get back on the field because they had another positive test of COVID. So we're not sure if they're going to definitely play yet. So tentatively, the New England Patriots are -9 versus the Denver Broncos. Drew Lock will return for the Denver Broncos. And I remember saying last week, and I said if Drew Lock plays, that I like Denver to win the game. However, that was without Cam Newton. Cam Newton did return to practice this week. He will be starting under center for the New England Patriots. And because of that, I think the Patriots will win by double digits, 10 or more. So I got the Patriots to cover that 10-point spread. What about you, Dre?
so this is my second best pick of the week. I'm going to go ahead and say that New England covers the spread as well. And I agree with you, Pete. If Cam wasn't playing and Drew Lock was playing, I would have said take Denver with the points, especially that amount of points. However, Cam Newton is coming back this week. If I'm not mistaken, I believe Stephon Gilmore's coming back as well. I would double check, but regardless, with Cam Newton back under center, I feel comfortable taking them. The only thing that we're lacking is a QB play. And listen, if Cam Newton's back, then they're going to win by at least 13, 2 touchdowns. So I'll say go ahead and take that, and that's my second best pick of the week.
All right, moving on to another interdivision matchup. The Miami Dolphins -9.5 versus the New York Jets. Joe Flacco will be under center for the New York Jets. They are obviously the big story of the week. They let go Le'Veon Bell. They released him, and he signed with the Kansas City Chiefs. Listen, the Jets are just a horrible team right now. They're missing 2 of their top 3 wide receivers. I'm not sure if Pacman's going to play this week. They just let go of Bell. And the management is just so horrible. Frank Gore even made a comment this week saying that I don't know why Perrine isn't playing for them. Like, Perrine is the young guy. You would think as a team that's rebuilding, you want to see your young guys play. And instead, he's throwing Frank Gore out there to get 15 carries a game. If the player himself doesn't even realize why he's playing, the coach, you would think, should know. So that organization, I said, is all about the management. It's not even about the players. They let go of Jamal Adams, who's a good leader. They let go. They're making Sam Darnold look like a horrible quarterback, and we've seen him how good he can be his rookie year. And now they let Le'Veon Bell, who's one of the top backs in the league. So it's all about the management. It's all about the coaching. I think it's horrible with the Jets right now. And until they change that, I'm not going to pick them to cover any spread like this. So even with a 9.5-point spread, Miami is a team that's actually trying hard. They're playing for Fitzpatrick. Obviously, behind Fitzpatrick, they got Tua that's going to come in soon. But I like Miami to cover that 9.5-point spread. What about you?
I agree, man. The fucking Jets are imploding, and it's hilarious. I mean, wait till Sunday when they start telling Frank Gore to run these wheel routes. It's gonna be cringing to watch. Listen, and shout out to Gore, man, because he's one of the best backs I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah,
but
he's been doing it for like 40 years.
Yes, but he's an old dog, bro. Listen, man, and right now he's at the man right now. But to make it happen for them, especially not the Jets. But anyways, yeah, take Miami all day, every day, -9. That's easy money. That's not in my top 3 picks though, but make that a bonus pick. They're gonna win by more than 2 touchdowns. This is a blowout game right here.
All right, so with the last 4 games of the week, these are all games that I thought were weird to pick, but I still thought, to me, it was a simple team to pick, and we'll see depending on who Dre's pick. We'll start off with the 4 o'clock game, Green Bay Packers and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, as we have an Aaron Rodgers versus Tom Brady matchup, 2 of the best quarterbacks the league has ever seen. The Green Bay Packers are -1 right now. They're undefeated. Tampa Bay, the reason why they're close is 1, because, listen, the lines on bets aren't made for who they think are going to win. They're made for the public to bet on both sides. And They made this a 1-point spread because people will bet Tom Brady because they're going to say Tom Brady didn't play well last week, or he's upset from them making fun of him, thinking it was a fourth down when the game was over. They're banking that the public will bet on Tom Brady for that. That's why it's a 1-point spread. Green Bay is a better team. I'm going to go with Green Bay to win this game. This is actually my top pick of the week. I think it's one of those lines where they're just trying to get the public to bet on the other side. But I think Green Bay wins this by a good amount. I would say even more than a touchdown. So this is my top pick of the week. Green Bay Packers to roll against Tampa Bay. What do you think?
Hey, Brady, there's 4 downs to gain 10 yards. You need 4 downs to gain 10 yards. That's how it works, Brady. You should know this. I don't want to hear no fucking excuses because that was some lame shit that you didn't want to go out there and shake Nick Foles' hands. Because now you forgot how many downs there were. You look like you.
He want to shake his hand because Nick Foles owns him.
Yeah, exactly. I'm sorry, people, guys. I know Brady is the GOAT to some of you guys, but that looks so lame when you can't even go on the field and shake the man's hand when he's sitting there waiting for you. Listen, shout out to Big Dick Nick. That's the fucking man. Listen, 2-0 against your GOAT. And with that being said, yes, Green Bay is going to take care of this. I don't know why this spread is so close, and I agree with Pete. Maybe what Pete just explained, maybe that's why it is close. But look, guys, this isn't rocket science. Green Bay is playing really, really good football. And Tampa Bay, although they're not playing bad football, how can you go against Green Bay? I mean, this is pretty much a pick 'em at this point. You're telling me that Green Bay's laying a point against against Tampa Bay? No, Green Bay's playing really good football, and we saw them play really good football prior to their bye week. I'm going to go with Green Bay in this one. I feel pretty comfortable about that one as well.
Listen, Tampa Bay's been overrated since before the year started, when everybody was saying that because that Brady is with the Bucs, that now they're going to go to the Super Bowl and they're definitely going to the NFC Championship game. And I didn't think they were going to either one. I didn't think that they were a top 2 team in the NFC. So the bettors automatically will side towards Tampa Bay, which is why there's a 1-point line. And once you understand why the odds bettors make certain lines, you will actually become a much better bettor. Because
you got Aaron Rodgers playing MVP level status, 13 TDs, no INTs, with a 128.4 passer rating. Come on, I mean, I'm not saying Brady's playing bad, but when you got Aaron Rodgers, considerably one of the GOATs, playing at this level, yeah, he's on a mission. This guy's on a mission. There's no way you bet against him in this type of game. No way.
Yeah, this is one of those games where, like I said, they're trying to trap you. They're saying, oh, it's a 1-point game. How could you not bet Brady when you're giving a point? Listen, take Green Bay. Sometimes there's some weird stuff that happens. We remember Green Bay going against a bad team last year and getting upset. That's not going to happen this year. Green Bay is going to win this game, and I think they'll win it pretty handily.
I think it'll happen this year, but not this game.
Yeah. Moving on to the next game, though, the Los Angeles Rams versus the 49ers. The Rams are a 3-point favorite, and this is my second favorite pick of the week, as San Fran has not been playing good for a while. Jimmy G. Garoppolo came back last week, still didn't play well. He pretty much got benched at the half, and they got blown out last week. Now they're going against a Rams team that has played well pretty much every single game this year. They may not have covered every game this year, but they've played well against everybody this year. And now they're only giving away 3 points against a team that still doesn't have all their starters back. Yes, they got Jimmy G back. Yes, they got Raheem Mostert back. But they still have missing about 4 or 5 starters that are impact starters. I got to go with the Rams to win this game. I think they'll control the West in the NFC. I don't see any way that 49. I mean, yes, you can see a way that the 49ers can win, but logically, I don't think the 49ers are going to win this game. And just being a 3-point spread, I got to go with the Rams. What do you think?
Oh, boy. This is my underdog pick of the week. I got San Fran winning this game outright. I got San Fran winning.
Yeah, you might as well shout out Arnold then, yeah?
Listen, man, shout out to AR, but no, that's how I'm going, San Fran. Look, they had a horrible game last week. I'm not gonna sit here and deny that.
Had a horrible couple weeks.
Yeah, but again, that's due to injuries, lack of QB. Their QB's back, and I understand he was back last week though. But again, even though they benched him at that point, it was pointless to keep him in the game. So they wanted to protect him more, if anything. Yeah, and again, even though the Rams have been playing really good football, they haven't really, like, I don't know, like, again, they've been super shaky. They haven't really been anybody for me to say, wow. And I know that San Francisco hasn't either, but again, lack of injuries. I'm looking at the Rams. They got a full healthy team. Division game. This is a really close game, guys. So again, if you want to take the points, take the points. But I think that San Francisco wins outright. They can't afford to lose this game. They lose this game, they're in a division with the Seattle Seahawks and the Rams. They're going to fall behind 2 games behind. Well, first of all, both of them are behind Seahawks because Seahawks are undefeated.
Yeah.
Now you're looking at an NFC division, which is hard to play in regardless and to make the playoffs. San Fran loses this game, they might not even make the playoffs, and I'm not exaggerating because there's other teams that are going to squeak in there. I'm going to say that this is a must-win game for San Francisco, and they take this game.
All right, so moving on to the next game, the Kansas City Chiefs versus Buffalo Bills, and this is a weird pick for me because I am not a big listen. KC, I respect them completely, but I'm not a big believer in them, and it's mostly because of their offensive line. They had somebody opt out before the year started. They had another guy get hurt last week. I think there was another one that may have gotten hurt a week. They've lost at least 2, if not 3, of their 5 offensive linemen. And I don't care how many offensive weapons you have. If you don't have a good offensive line, Mahomes is going to get hurt or he's going to get sacked a lot, and you're not going to be able to get a chance for Tyreek Hill to get down the field for those long catches. So, and we saw that last week when they lost to the Raiders. I'm still going to go with KC to win this game just because Buffalo's coming off a short week. They may be still a little bit down because they got blown out. And I think KC will take advantage of that with only being a 4.5 spread. If this spread was 7.5, I'm going with Buffalo. But because it's still a smaller spread, I'm going to go with KC to cover that spread. What about you, Dre?
Yeah, it's a tricky game, P. Usually teams that get blown out usually come out strong the following week. Hence why I'm picking San Fran. But in this scenario, Kansas City is one of those teams that I got to pay a lot of respect to, and I can't see them losing 2 in a row. I'm not big on Buffalo Bills, although I did pick them to pick Tennessee Titans, but I had a valid
shame
with them because
shame on you. It's Tennessee versus the world. We still gonna come through.
Hey, listen, man. Again, I had a valid reason. Tennessee, they did prove me wrong, but again, I wasn't sure how they were going to perform with missing key starters and lack of playing facility times. Not Montgomery Park. I'm talking about actual facility time. So, again.
Hey, neither one of us technically picked that game. We gave you scores for that game, but neither one of us really technically picked that game.
The scores for that game, by the way? Do you have them?
Yeah, I still have them. Like that week, we both had Buffalo winning. You had them winning 24-17. I had the Buffalo winning 27-17. But I do remember at the end of that, I said, you know what? That spread is probably going to be enough. You may get a good line to pick Tennessee money line, which I actually did. And Tennessee obviously won that game money line.
Yeah, exactly. But regardless, you know what though? I'm sure we could both agree that if under normal circumstances, we probably would have both picked Tennessee to win outright. I mean, obviously, if it would have been an absurd spread for Tennessee, like -10, even though they would have covered that, I probably wouldn't have leaned that way anyways because Buffalo was an undefeated team, though. But regardless, moving on to this game, though, I'm not big on the Bills like that. Again, you should have lost that Rams game.
They should have.
They should have. Exposed by a Tennessee Titans team, which is a good team. I can't see Kansas City losing 2 in a row.
Yo, can Ryan Tannehill get some love though?
Oh, absolutely.
Yo, the guy. They showed a stat. They showed a stat on that between the last 14 games of KC and the 14 games that Ryan Tannehill has started with the Titans, they have the same stats. Patrick Mahomes gets talked about MVP every single week. Nobody ever talks about Ryan Tannehill as MVP.
Yeah, no, listen. Matter of fact, here, I'll give you a quick stat right now. And also Tannehill some love. There's 5 starting quarterbacks right now to only throw for 1 or less interceptions so far in the 2020 season so far, which is Mahomes, Aaron Rodgers, Derek Carr, my quarterback Ben Roethlisberger, and Ryan Tannehill. So again, that says a lot to these quarterbacks that are playing really well, especially Tannehill. Again, I don't know if he's playing MVP level status stuff, but they're undefeated right now, and they just blew out an undefeated team. So again, that's not a team that anybody should ever be taking lightly, especially after for some reason they feel hurt that everybody's against them. But oh well. I mean, hey, listen, if they're playing dangerous like that, then I wouldn't want to play them, even though we play next week. So that's going to be fun to watch. However, Kansas City takes this game with the Bills, and it'll be interesting to see how the Bills move on after going 4-2.
All right, moving to another Monday, another possible Monday night game, Dallas Cowboys and the Arizona Cardinals. Arizona's a 1-point favorite right now, and I am picking Dallas to win this game outright. This is my upset special of the week. I think that they're going to rally behind what happened with Dak last week. I think they're going to run the ball more, which is what they should have been doing with Dak to keep their defense off the field. They shouldn't have been passing it all the time. And I think that's actually going to work out better for them. And I think that they'll be able to control the game a little bit more by running the game with Zeke. And I think Dallas will win this game. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, again, another hard game to pick because although I do think that Andy Dalton is in a better system compared to where he was in Cincinnati, he does have the weapons now because he has a plethora of weapons, running backs, wide receivers, better team, better system, better coach. I'm going to have to say Arizona in this one, and it's because of the quarterback play. I think they're not going to respect Andy Dalton enough that they'll just stuff the run, and they'll probably say, hey, Andy, you want to win the game? Go win the game. Even though I think he is capable of doing so. And again, this isn't a game that I'm going to be touching because Dallas could very well win the game. I just think that Arizona does enough to put up some points and makes it difficult for Andy Dalton to just rally the team back. I think they'll put up some points. I don't know what the over and under is on this game, but I do like the over. But I think it'll be one of those games where Arizona will come off first hot, and then it'll just be a catch-up game that Andy Dalton can't catch up to. And for that, I'm going to say Cardinals take this game. And plus, it's -1, so it's practically a pick'em.
All right, so that's our picks for this week. But I want to surprise Dre right now because we still got a couple minutes to go on the show. So I want to surprise Dre with a couple questions. So the first question is, do my Braves win tonight? Now, I know you're not a big baseball fan, but let me give you the background. Braves are up 3-1. Tonight, there's not even starting a starter. The game starts at 9 o'clock. They're not even starting a starter. They're starting one of the bullpen guys because they don't have good starters. The Dodgers are starting a rookie named Dustin May. He looks like Carrot Top because he has big red hair. And he's been very good all year. I don't know why they didn't start him in one of the earlier games, but he's starting this game. So his ERA is like 2. So he gives up about 2 runs every 9 innings. While, like I said, the Braves are starting their bullpen guys. So do the Braves clinch it tonight, or does it go to Game 6?
Yeah, this is hard. And dude, the fucking Braves have been playing really, really, really good baseball. It'll be naive of me to say, the Braves win tonight without giving the Dodgers some respect. Because 2 days ago, even though the Dodgers won 15-3,
they've been the best team in baseball all year.
Yeah, and the Braves responded the following day, winning 10-2. I think the Braves win the series, in my opinion, but I do think it goes to Game 6. It'll be a close one tonight. It's going to be a fun one. We still got plenty of time for you guys to tune in, but listen, let's go Braves. I want the Braves to win. Gun to my head. I think Dodgers take tonight, but Braves win the series.
Listen, if you guys follow me on Twitter, Pacman453323, I'll have a surprise on there if the Braves win. So that'll let you know what I feel about the Braves. I'll let you know if they win tonight or tomorrow, but whatever.
Very capable of winning, and if the Braves win if the Braves clinch tonight, yeah, expect them to go probably to the finals.
Well, that'll be the World Series. If they win tonight, they'll be in the World Series. So they'll be in the championship.
My God,
yeah. That's what I'm saying. If they win tonight, they'll be in the championship against either the Rays or Astros. The Rays and Astros started playing at 6 o'clock today. It was the Rays up 3-2. I'm checking the score right now just to see what's going on. The Astros are winning 5-1, so we may have a Game 7 with that one tomorrow. So that obviously Game 7 is always the biggest thing in sports. So we may have a Game 7 with the Astros and Rays.
Right now, after this weekend, there's a possibility that the Atlanta Braves could be advancing right now, and his Tennessee Titans could be going 5-0. Unbelievable, and that's great. And shout out to Peter Clarke for that. And listen, guys, again, when the teams are hot like this, man, I mean, that's when Pete gets hot and he starts giving you some, like, insane money line props. I know we don't say it on the show, though, but Pete's been sending me stupid amount of money picks that he's been cashing out on. Not just money line picks, which are underdog picks. I'm talking about player props.
I'm king of the props the past week.
Yeah, guys, I'm telling you. So, again, if you guys follow Peter Clarke on social media, and if you don't, go ahead and follow him. Reach out to him, and I'm sure he'll share some of those money picks with you.
Listen, remember what my original name that you called me on, King of the Future Bets. I'm just going to leave that there.
Yeah, again, Pete will show you open tickets that are so open in January for fucking football, and again, it's only a matter of which teams are going to cash out. And he's cashed out on a couple of those. Again, with his teams hot right now, I expect Peter to continue that hot streak as well.
Listen, I got something from May, June area that around that time that something may be coming up soon on Twitter. So, like I said, follow me on Pacman 453323. But we can't leave without talking about probably one of the biggest fights this year. There's only been really two big fights. There's been Wilder versus Fury 2 in February, and that was before the pandemic. And now we have Vasily Lomachenko versus Teofimo Lopez tomorrow on live TV, is on regular TV on ESPN. You don't have to pay pay-per-view. These are two of the best in their division, fighting at 135 pounds. I want to hear who you pick, and Dre, and how are they winning? Who and how?
Wow. Yeah, man, listen, man. First of all, shout out to Bob, bro. First of all.
Yeah, that's a great job by Top Rank.
Dude, first of all, giving us a fucking free fight, which he could have easily put on pay-per-view. He's given us a free fight during these hard times. And not just a free fight, but I'm talking about a quality fight. I'm talking about arguably at least
top-notch.
Listen, one of the biggest fights that we've seen in recent years, and I'm being honest with you because this is quality. We're talking about two of the guys in their primes, really, really, really good fighters in both of them that are both capable of taking this fight, and we're going to get it for free on ESPN. Max Kellerman said it. Just tune in. You don't got to subscribe to anything. You don't got to sign up to anything. Just tune into ESPN and enjoy the night. So shout out to Top Rank for making that happen and making this fight happen.
Undercard at 7:30.
Yup. With that being said, and it's a good undercard as well, so check that out. Honestly, this is a good fight. I like Teofimo Lopez. I'm not going to lie. I don't like the route that they've been taking with the whole trash talking and Lopez Sr. Dude, you're fucking bitching because you felt like Lomachenko didn't give you enough respect in the Stewart Hotel lobby? Fuck out of here, dude. Listen, look, I know they're trying to sell the fight, and I understand that, but I just think it's lame and a little bogus that's the storyline direction they're going to go towards. However, Lopez is a dangerous fighter. We've seen him go ahead and make things happen. But I'm going to go ahead and say that Lomachenko takes this fight again. I'm going to go with the better IQ in my opinion. I think that this goes to full 12, and Lomachenko has something to prove, man. He says that he wants to take Lopez into deep waters and drown him pretty much. He says he doesn't want to knock out. He wants a 12-round fight and teach Lopez a lesson. I think that that's very well possible. We've seen Lopez, make Nicholas Walters and Rigondeaux, two really good fighters, quit. So it's like, wait a second. I know Lopez is knocking out guys, which is very impressive, but
they're not on that level.
You got Lomachenko. You got Lomachenko make his guys quit.
That are top guys. They aren't just like some bums. Like Rigondeaux was one of the top guys at his division. Obviously, now they moved up to Lomachenko division, but he was still one of the top guys. And obviously, Nicholas Walters was one of the rising guys. He was undefeated at the time. He was the guy that was supposed to be big for that weight class, and he quit on his stool. Exactly.
So to me, look, I know a punch can make a difference in a fight, and Lopez does pack power. But when you're Lomachenko and you're making guys mentally break down where they don't want to come out to see that for another round, to me, that's another level of savagery that I just got to, respect Lomachenko for. And again, I'm not going to say he's going to sit here and completely, dominate Lopez. I think there's going to be a couple of rounds that could go either way. I just think that, that this could be like a 115, 113 type of fight across all three judges. And I'm going to say Lomachenko takes that.
All right. I think this is going to be one of those fights that Lomachenko does school the young kid a little bit. I think actually that Lomachenko is going to stop him. I think Lomachenko makes his corner, and not because he's going to quit, because Teofimo's not a quitter, but I think he's going to make his corner throw the towel in there because he's going to give him a beating later on in the fight. And listen, this is going to be one of those fights that you have to tune in. We're out for the show. We got about 10 seconds left, so catch the show next week. This is Pete's Corner with Dre. Peace out, guys.
Peace out, people. Take care.